Nice sunny afternoon. So I'm going to welcome everyone. I'm Nick Datani. I'm one of the clinical leads at Barnet Directorate of NCL CCGs. Thanks for joining us. This webinar is to talk to you about Consultant Connect. In terms of housekeeping, if everyone can go on mute while the presenters are talking. If you've got any questions, you can put it in the chat bar. We'll be keeping an eye on that. And also, there's a function on Teams called raising your hand. You can see that on your bar. So if you want to ask a question, please raise your hand as well. So I really just want to give you a quick introduction to what this is. This is going to be a really great initiative in the Barnet area. This is something that our planned care transformation team have been working with Consultant Connect about. The model is that GPs will be able to have immediate access to consultants on demand on the chosen areas, which we're going to talk about during this webinar. And the average time is about 27 to 30 seconds to get through to somebody. And I think it's a really, really great thing. So hopefully those who are on the webinar today have already downloaded the app. If not, start downloading the app. You can find it on Google, Apple, and all those kind of phones. Download it. I'm going to hand over to Kat from Consultant Connect, who's going to present the meeting. Thanks, Kat.
It's best to find your unmute button in this, I suppose. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kat from Consultant Connect. I'm the account lead for your project, and I'm on the call today, or rather on the video, with my colleague Roger Tweeddale, who's our director for implementations, and my colleague Marion, who will be running the implementation in Barnet with me. So this is also an unusual way for us to meet you, to be fair, in a team world via video. Usually we come to your GP forums or other similar trainings to demo the app, but we'll find out today if it's equally going well on a video call. So I'm just going to switch off my camera and switch on my mobile phone screen so I can start the demo. Maybe before I do that, just one more word about Consultant Connect for those of you that haven't come across us before. So as Nick said, we're about giving GPs and other clinicians immediate access to consultants for advice. And we can do that via telephone, and we can equally do that via photo messaging. All of that which you will see today. We're working with 75 health areas across the country, so that's England, Wales and Scotland, which involves about 60 trusts, and I think we now cover just under 4. Okay, so you should now be able to see my phone. So the way, is that okay for everyone, Nick?
Yep, that's fine, Kat.
I've got a bit of background noise. If everyone could mute themselves, that would be really helpful. Thank you. So the Consultant Connect service, which runs 7 days a week. So the service is available 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. weekdays and 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. on weekends. You can access our service 2 ways. One is via a landline number, so you can use your phones in the surgeries and you will have a dedicated number for your surgery, which we're going to communicate in the coming days. The second way to access our service is via the app, is what I'm demoing today, and you'll probably find that's your fastest way of accessing the service too. So the app, as Nick said, is available for free on the App Store and equally on Google Play. So there's no costs involved using the service for you. So this is all being commissioned and paid for by the CCG. And the app is all IG compliant, so it's had all necessary sign-offs in that regard. Once you download the app, you are being asked to register. I'm really sorry, there's still quite a bit of background noise. If those people that are not yet muted could please mute themselves, I think that would be helpful for everyone else. So you've been asked to register with your NHS email address, and then you will be asked to put in the surgery that you work at. And for locums, by the way, you can be linked to several surgeries, and we can set that up for you if you email us once you had your first registration completed. So let me open the app and show you what it looks like. So you have the profile tab on the right, and then you have the 3 available services, which I'm going to demo in a minute. So phone, photos, and messages. So let me, oh, there's someone very persistent trying to call me. Let me try and demo the phone option first. So you click on the phone icon, and then you choose the specialty that you want to connect with. So this is a demo account. I have quite a number of options on here. In Barnet, the starting service will be for cardiology, gynae, gastroenterology, rheumatology, trauma and orthopedics, and dermatology. And so Nick and the team are monitoring this, and you might have access to further specialties along the lines. But for now, you have 6 specialties available. So for demo purposes, I'm going to select gastro. I'm being asked to enter the patient's NHS number. This is really to track the patient around the system. If you don't have the number at hand, you can still use the service.
Yeah.
You click next and start the call. So what this will do now is it'll dial the first consultant on the rota. And the first consultant has 15 seconds to answer the call. So at any time, there is a number of consultants on the rotas, so that we can hopefully connect you successfully to one of them. So as consultant 1 is not answering in 15 seconds. So now you hear I'm calling a second consultant. Let's assume consultant 2 takes this call. So we're now connected. I'm just going to hang up for demo purposes.
Thank you for using Connect.
So once the conversation is finished, and as you hang up, you will see now the outcome screen. So this is quite an important point I'd like to make. So you're being asked to basically say the outcome of this call. So what's happening with this patient next? So referral avoided, referral made, diagnostics requested, and so on. It's quite important for the CCG to understand how the system is being used, to understand the impact on patients and the system. So we really encourage you to please leave the outcomes every time. And this, by the way, is the same for when you use the landline. So when you connect to a consultant using the landline, as you finish the conversation, you're being asked to stay on the line, and the system will read out to you, press 1 for referral avoided, and so on. So please do remember to leave the outcomes when you use the system. So that's as much as I can show you about calls. If you have any questions, please use the chat box to send them in, and Nick will read them out as I finish the demo. The next feature I wanted to show you is about photos. So the app allows you, and I'm going to click on the Photos app icon at the bottom. The app allows you to take IG secure photos on your mobile phones. The photos are never stored on your phone, so the photos are being transferred off your phone, as you will see in a minute. So what you do is you click on the Photos app icon at the bottom. You press confirm that you have patient consent to take photos, and then you take a photo. If you're happy with the quality, you say use the photo. If it looks a bit blurred, this one does actually look a bit blurred, I'm going to say retake. And now I say use photo. I now have the option to take a second photo. So certainly in dermatology, they usually tell us what they want. So they usually want one closer up. So let's take another one. They use the photo. As the next step, I'm being asked to enter the patient NHS number again. Same principle. It allows us to track the patient around the system. And then I click next. So here I've got the option to enter notes. So this is a demo. And Equally, you can dictate notes as well now. So if I click my dictate button just to show you how it works, these photos should be sent to a consultant for review. Okay, now I hit save. And this is an important point to show you. And I'm just going to pause here, as in you've got two options. So one is that you save these photos without sharing.
But you have to fill it, of course.
It's a bit of background noise again. If those that just joined, if you could please mute yourself, then that will be better for everyone to understand. Thank you. So using the photos, I've now got two options. One is I save them without sharing. And what that means is the photos are being sent to my NHS inbox, and they're also available on the Consultant Connect platform for downloads. And what you can do with those photos then is to attach them, for instance, to referrals, or you can attach them to patient records. So often what we hear is that GPs would use the photos to monitor a skin condition over time, sort of just to see the changes once the patient comes back. The second option is, and this is the one I'd like to show you today, is that you share these photos immediately with consultants for advice. So that's mainly for dermatology, but in Barnet you also have access to have photos reviewed by cardiologists. So for instance, sharing ECG and echo reports, in trauma and orthopedics, so sharing scans, x-rays, again, pictures of fractures, for instance, and also, so dermatology I've said. So you've got the three photo options. So I'm going to say share these photos. I'm going to choose dermatology. So as a next step, you're being asked to enter information about your patient. So this is basically what dermatologists would like to understand about this patient case. So date of birth, history and medication. You can also leave your phone number here in case the consultant would like to get in touch with you about this particular case. So I'm not going to fill it in now for demo purposes, and I'm just going to say send. So you can see here the photos are being transferred, and that means they're off my phone. They're not stored in my iCloud or any similar accounts. They're gone from my phone and they're being transferred to the Consultant Connect platform. So I'm just going to move over and show you as they come in. So this is the Consultant Connect portal where they come into. This is what the dermatologists will see. So they can open the photo. They can zoom in to give them a high resolution. The consultant will then reply to you. So how will you know that you've had a reply? You don't need to go in and check. You will get a notification. You've got the opportunity to opt in and opt out of various notification models. So you can opt in to have email notifications or in-app notifications, really depending on what your preferences are. Some people tend to like more notifications, and some people prefer just going in and checking themselves. So I'm just going to bring my phone screen back up. If you do have any questions, please use the chat box. This is playing up a bit. I can't seem to be able to. Just going to try and just bear with me. Well, right. Here's the phone. So I just wanted to show you what this looks like as I go back into the Consultant Connect app. So I'm back in the app, and on the messaging tab, you see the case that I've just sent in, and you see the reply from the consultant. Let me just open that again. Yeah, so you have an opportunity to ask more questions if needed, so you can go back. And once you've had sufficient advice from the consultant, we ask you to close the case. So this is, again, like I said on the call function, it's very important for us and for the CCG to understand how the system is being used. So please always go in, even when you had your reply, please do go in and close the case. So close this case when it has concluded, then leave an outcome. You can reopen the case later if needed. I'm going to say OK. I'm being asked to leave the outcome. I'm going to say community referral recommended and leave the outcome. And here you see that you are able to reopen the case if you need to go back to the consultant at a later date. I move the phone over and bring back the portal again. So here you can see this case has now been closed and can be reopened. So this is basically mirroring what you see in the app. One thing I also wanted to show you in that context is how you can upload photos that you receive from patients or files to send off a request. I guess in current times where you're probably not seeing many patients face to face and where patients are emailing in their photos, you can use that function. So if you go into the messaging tab and then open up a new message, bottom right corner, again, you choose the specialty, you key in the patient NHS number, you've been asked for the patient data again as previously, and then you can upload the file. So I'm just going to select a photo and then press send. So it's a similar principle, or the same principle, in fact, than on the app. It just gives you that extra opportunity during the time where you get patient photos being emailed in. Or, as I said before, for cardiology, you can share ECG echo reports, or in trauma and orthopedics. They're the other functions where the messaging is currently enabled. So if we go back to the top, messages, if I scroll up, no, not letting me. Here is the one that I just sent in. So that's as much as I wanted to show you. In terms of capturing the activity, as I said at the very beginning, so each message and each call is being recorded. So if I just show you the call that I placed earlier on this demo, you can see it here, 21st of May, 13:38. It was Cat James calling. You can see the specialties that I tried to access, and then you can see I've been answered by rotor position 2, wait for 30 seconds, talk very briefly, and then there should have been the outcome. I did think I recorded an outcome, but usually that's exactly what I wanted to encourage. Always leave an outcome so we understand how the system is being used. And then here there is a recording of your calls as well. So this is all in what we call the Consultant Connect dashboard. So you have access to that same dashboard with the same login that you used when you first registered with us, so probably when you downloaded the app. So here you can go in and see your call reports, your message reports, and as I said, here you can see your messages and use it for sending off new messages. So I think that's as much as I wanted to show today. So I look forward to hearing the questions. Just to say that the service is live now. So it's I guess we can call it a soft launch that we have today by giving you the demo. So you can use the service anytime from now. And then you will also have a email from us on Tuesday, which is the official launch date. And that email will give you the dial-in number for your surgery for those that would prefer using the landline rather than the app. And it'll also have a link to more information and an attachment of a startup guide, which basically explains it on one page what I've just tried to demo you, really. So that's as much as I wanted to say. So I'm going to hand back to Nick to come to read out the first questions. And I'm just going to stop sharing my screen and bring my camera back on.
Thanks, Kat. So I've tried to answer some of these questions on the chat, but I'll go through some of the really common questions that have come up. Some of the common questions have been about the availability of what type of consultants we get. So we're going to be starting off with national consultants to begin with, and then over the next 6 weeks, the aim is to get NCL consultants, particularly from the Royal Free and Barnet, on the rota, so they start answering calls in about 6 weeks' time. And what will happen is once they come on board per speciality, the call will be automatically directed to a local consultant, so that they would be the first consultant that it would ring. The next question was about what happens if it goes to a voicemail. So the system doesn't allow that. It rings 15 seconds, and then if the consultant doesn't answer, it goes through to the next consultant. So it won't ever go through to a consultant's voicemail. So it will ring up until somebody has picked up. And actually, Justin just said he just did a cardiology call while the training was going on and got an answer in 30 seconds. Which is fantastic. So that was I think you spoke to somebody about a real patient, Justin.
That's right. Yeah. If I can just add to that, Nick. So yes, I should have said this. So the current average connection time is 27 seconds. So this is our best standard. At rare occasions, it might take a little bit longer. So we would encourage you to stay on the line. If you can't get through, again, which is very rare, we have connection rates in the range of 90% these days for first-time calls. But in case you cannot get through, then we would encourage you to try again 2 minutes later. But the connection rate is in the range of 90%, and usually we can connect in under 30 seconds.
Great, thank you. And there's a lot of questions about how do we put pictures on. So a lot of patients are sending us pictures on AccuRx or email, which is going to be on our desktop PC or laptops. And so you've got the app. Once you've registered for the app, you use the same login details to register on the Consultant Connect desktop or website address, and then therefore you can put that picture from your computer or laptop onto the advice. So for telederm or cardiology, if you want to do an ECG or whatever it is. And Kat's just going to show you that there now. So this is the website, consultantconnect.org.uk. Then you just log in, and then you would just copy and paste that picture in, or you upload that picture in. So you don't have to, transfer it to your mobile phone. Equally, when we start seeing patients, I know we're doing a lot of remote consultations at the moment, we can take the picture on our mobile phone without any special kit. But you do the picture through the app so that it does not save in your camera roll. And therefore, there's no IG issue there.
Yes, absolutely, Nick. So it's consultantconnect.org.uk/login, and then you use the same login data that you used when you first registered with us, and then you will see it in a similar way to what you see on my screen now. And for the messages, you go into the message tab, bottom right, open a new message, select the specialty, and it'll then prompt you to upload the pictures, potentially those ones that you have been emailed in by patients, and you send it off to the consultant. When you receive a reply, you get a notification, either an email notification if that's what you've opted in for, or an in-app notification to say you've had a reply from a consultant.
So the next question was, how long on average does it take to get a response? So let's say somebody puts a picture through.
So the current average response time is under 4 hours. So the sort of, I guess the standard is that it would be under 48 hours, but what we currently see is that it's on average under 4 hours.
And that's obviously during the business hours.
That's correct, yeah.
And then we had some questions about how do we know the consultant's name when we speak to the consultant, Kat?
So Roger, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the names are being read out via the phone system as you call. And I think that's how you hear the name of the consultant. Is that right, Roger?
It is correct. So you will hear calling Mick Oscore. And if Mick can pick up the phone, that's great. But if he can't, then the phone will divert to one of his colleagues and they will be named. So if you get an answer, you will know which consultant is actually picking up.
And obviously you can clarify the consultant's name just like you would do when you're phoning anyone at the hospital. The next question was about does the consultant do a summary report? No, it is just a telephone conversation, so we would have to, just like we did when we speak to a hospital consultant, write the advice into the EMIS notes of the patient. In terms of saving the pictures would you can save the pictures to MacuRx into EMIS directly, and through, if they've sent them by email, directly into the notes as well. And your admin team should be able to support you at the practice if you've got any questions about how to do that.
Nick, if I may add to that, so that's absolutely correct for the call side of things. For the photo side of things, if you just look at the screen again, so once a case is finished, you can export it. So there's a export case PDF at the top. So as you export that, it has the pictures. It'll come up on the screen now. So it has the pictures and the notes.
Would you be able to share the screen again? Sorry to disturb you.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, just trying to do that, Tal. Thank you.
Thanks for prompting me to that. So I just wanted to show you, in terms of recording the outcomes and the comments and the notes for a messaging case. So there is an export case PDF at the top and inside a message. And as you click on that, it downloads it for you, and then you can attach that, as I said, to referrals or to the patient record, which has the photos with all the notes and feedbacks from the consultant and the actual pictures.
And Kat, the next question was, let's say the GP then asked another question, would that go back to the same consultant?
Yes, you would have to go back into the case, reopen the case. I'm just going to show that. So if I go back into the case, so this one is open. Let me just close it. So there's a reopen function at the bottom. So you reopen it and you type in your further question. And then that goes back to the same consultant.
Yeah, and just to clarify, it's not a case of having to reopen. If there are 3 or 4 different dialogues about the same discussion, they will ping back and forth to the same consultant.
Okay, thank you. And then the next, so we've had some questions about logging in. I'm just going to cover those first. All you need to do is download the app, then use your NHS email, select your GP practice. If you work at more than one GP practice, pick the one that you work at most, if you're a locum, for example, and then you'll be able to access the app straight away. I think, Kat and Roger, I can't remember, does it validate your email?
Yes.
Yeah, so we'll just validate your email. And then once you've registered on the app, you'll then be able to use the desktop version.
Using the same login and password details as you will have just set up during the app download process.
Perfect, thank you. And then we've had some questions surrounding copying the things into EMIS. So we've just covered that. We've covered that. There's been a couple of more questions about that. So hopefully we've covered that. If there's any further clarity on that, just let us know. The next question was about whether we should be using this more than the ERS. So this is to complement ERS. So we are with ERS, so we've got all of our specialities on advice and guidance. We've only got 6 specialities on with Consultant Connect. And so this is for more quicker advice or semi-urgent advice. Just to remind colleagues that this is not for something that you're thinking, someone's got acute abdominal pain and I'm thinking appendicitis. This is not for something like that. That will be the on-call doctors at the local hospital. This is for kind of, I've done an ECG on this patient. I want to just run something by you. I've got a patient in the room or patient on hold. It's that kind of thing. So you can use it to complement ERS. Both of the models will be available just to continue using. The next question we've had was, does it record? Does the call record? Kat and Roger, do you want to answer that?
Yes, it does. It does. All calls are recorded, and an MP file is kept on our system.
So the call recording would not be visible to the GP, is that right? It's just for audit and medical legal purposes in case required later on?
Yeah, so the call recordings are always saved in a secure virtual private cloud. They're accessible to the relevant GP practice and the relevant trust team that answer the call. If a practice wants one or more individuals, typically medical secretaries, to be able to access the call recordings and collectively access all of the photos that all of the GPs within that practice take, then you ask us. We ask for written authorization from the practice, and we can give those named individuals access to that patient identifiable data. But unsurprisingly, we're pretty structured in terms of how we control the information governance on that front. So if you log into your practice account, you'll see the call statistics, but you won't see the call recording or the NHS number unless you've got access to patient identifiable data. I hope that makes sense.
Thanks, Roger. And the next question was about whether we can submit videos, for example, for a neurology patient rather than just a picture.
At this stage, no. So it is something we're looking at, but obviously the data size of a video is much greater than it is for a small number of photo images. So we will look at it, but I'm afraid the answer is not yet.
Thank you. We have had some questions again about whether we are using this instead of ERS. Just to remind you, this is to complement ERS, so you can decide which service you're going to be using. The next question was about teledermatology. So in Barnet, we have 2 models currently, excluding Consultant Connect, on teledermatology. And I'll just remind colleagues, the old service is where a patient would attend and a medical photographer would take a picture, and then you get a response within 3 to 4 weeks. Obviously, because of COVID, that service is temporarily suspended. NCL have a teledermatology service which is also available, which is where a patient sends the GP practice a picture via AccuRx or email, and then you complete a form on Bar Global, and your secretaries can put that on ERS and send it through to the Royal Free in Whittington, and the turnaround time again is 2 to 4 weeks approximately. So this is a new service to complement that with much faster turnaround. So your patient sends you a picture on AccuRx or email, you put it onto the desktop or the app, and you get a response probably that day. So this is an addition to the current and old telederm services. The next question was, is the dashboard only visible on the desktop? I think that's correct.
Yes, that's correct.
So certainly you could have the dashboard open in the background on your computer and then have the app open, obviously only when you're using it to call patients. And actually, I'm wondering, Kat and Roger, a question that's sprung to my mind is, could our secretaries send a Consultant Connect request if you know, we've got a picture that's come through, let's say we had a website query, and I looked at it and think, I have no idea what this is, I want a Consultant Connect doctor to look at it. Can my secretary send you a query?
They can. So each practice can decide for themselves who they want to have access to this system. For phone calls, you'll typically give it access to advanced nurse practitioners as well as GPs, if that's what you want to do. And yes, a medical secretary, if you want to give them access, you can, and they can upload photos for you to save you the administration.
Okay, I'm just going to clarify some questions about pictures again. A lot of people asking about pictures. So if you take a picture on your mobile phone through the app, it doesn't get stored to your picture roll, and it's stored to the cloud, which is secure. So you can use your mobile phones to submit pictures, but obviously if you've received it through AccuRx or email, then it will be on your desktop.
Yes, so if you have pictures that you can upload, then we encourage you to use the desktop, so that where you open up a new message inside messaging tab and attach the pictures to that.
And then we had another question about 2-week wait. So there is a 2-week wait service, and obviously not through Consultant Connect, on ERS to send urgent skin lesions to. So if you think this is a cancer, it's not advisable to use this service if you think somebody needs to be seen and biopsied. But of course, if the consultant that reviewed the picture at Consultant Connect, let's say you did happen to send a cancer, I'm sure that they would be giving you advice to do a 2-week wait referral.
They would do. I mean, I'm looking at the call report, or rather the teledermatology report for Enfield at the moment, and they've sent 5 through today, and the response times, they've all been responded to already. Sorry, this is 5 yesterday. 1 hour 53, 39 minutes, 1 hour 6, 1 hour 39, 1 hour 36. So again, this is down to the individual GP's judgment as to what's most appropriate for their patient. If they know it's a slam dunk 2-week wait referral, then obviously you'll make a 2-week wait referral. If you're slightly unsure and you would benefit from advice that quickly, then send the photos, and get the advice, and then make your decision.
Okay, just going down the list, I think I've tried to cover most of the questions. Are there any other questions? I'm going to ask if you want to use the raise your hand option or use the chat bar. I'm happy to answer those. I think hopefully I've covered them all, but is there any other questions anyone wants to ask? Have people downloaded the app? Have people had a go at it while we're on the phone? Yes, it is live from now. The official launch date is Tuesday, but you can start using it now. And we've had a question about, yes, this webinar will be recorded and will be made available. We'll probably send the link in Charlotte's bulletin tomorrow. The next question was, what kind of file types can you upload?
Right, so the type of files that you'll see from us are, there's a call recording, which is an MP3 or MP4 file. That can be attached to EMIS much like a PDF can. The reality is you will continue writing notes in EMIS and System 1 just like you already do when you call a consultant via the switchboard. And so you probably won't. Of the 4,000 practices or so on the system, I'm only aware of one practice, literally 1 out of 4,000, where they systematically upload and save every call recording to a patient record. Our view is that that's administratively unnecessary. You can always access the full verbatim record anytime you want, so you'll probably just carry on with your summary notes in EMIS system. That's the call recordings. The photos, I think they're JPEG, aren't they? I
think any current one, so JPEG, PDFs, and what's the other one? PNG. So basically the standard file types for photos and PDFs as well.
Yeah, but what I can confirm though is that the file size and the type that comes out from Consultant Connect, when you take a photo through us, you can attach it to an ERS referral. So again, in time, once the dermatology teams at RFL and MUH step in and participate, and they will in due course, you will basically, they will be able to talk to you and say, well, actually, wherever possible, please could you attach photos to all of your referrals, whether they're elective or 2-week wait, because that will gradually allow them to do pre-clinical triage before the patients turn up. And that will be massively valuable for those dermatology teams. So the ability to attach the photos to 2-week wait referrals is really critical. Sorry, ERS referrals.
Can Word documents be attached with summaries?
They can on the website upload capability that Kat showed you, because it basically gives you the ability to upload file.
Thanks. The next question was, can you access the desktop version from home, or does it have to be on a secure N3 site?
Basically, because the access controls are fairly tight, you can access it through any computer, as long as you've got your unique logon and password.
Okay, great. And the next question we'll have is about, if pictures are taken on the app, how do we save them to the record? Let's say we took them on our phone through the app. Obviously, then you can go onto the desktop version and then download that into the patient's notes if you need to. The next question was about can there be a generic account for the whole practice rather than just individual doctors and secretaries' accounts?
The answer to that is yes, it's at your option. And actually, but the consideration you need to have is about the information governance. So what you might want to know is who took what photo, who made what recording. That's typically considered to be helpful. Also, if someone accesses a call recording or a photo subsequently, well, there's an audit trail of everyone who accesses. So again, if you use a generic account, the granularity of the information governance trail is not as good as if you allocate unique user accounts. But ultimately, we're not going to tell you what to do. Each practice makes their own decision. So initially, we've got a big account in Bath where they've got 35 specialties on the system, sort of 4 elective, 30 odd elective and 4 urgent and a few mental health options. They also have teledermatology. In some practices, I know that they gave a generic login for the teledermatology solution, but they gradually moved away from that. So it is your option, but I think you'll probably end up with each individual user having an account. The only exception to that is the medical secretaries.
Thank you.
Because what you'll find is you've got 2, 3, 4 people who aren't always in. They might work shifts. You'll probably give them a generic login.
Thank you. And then locums can register if they work regularly at your practice, and they can access it as well. Again, just to remind people that there is no, apart from the telederm and the picture advice, that's the only time you get a written response. Otherwise, there's telephone advice. So if you get a written response from telederm, you can save that into the notes through DocMan or copy and paste. But a consultant call for let's say gastro would just be telephone advice. There's some questions about telederm again. So again, just to remind you, this is not for 2-week wait. This is for any kind of telederm where the patient or you have taken a picture, and you can. This is to complement ERS. And the next question was, what if we don't hear from a consultant in a specific time frame? What do we do?
Sorry, Roger.
I guess your options are very much the same as what they are currently without using us. If you send some information to a consultant team and they don't come back to you, then what do you do? When you use Consultant Connect, I mean, there's a broad agreement about that 48-hour turnaround. You will be able to re-access all of the photos that you've taken. So if you have to resend via a different route, I mean, you'll probably put a call into either us if it's an out of area team or into RFL and NMUH, and you will then resend the photos that you can recover through the Consultant Connect web portal.
Thank you. I think I've answered most of the questions. Have I missed anyone out? I'm just going to allow this now for people to come off mute. We've got about 5-7 minutes left of this webinar. If anyone wants to ask a question rather than sending it as a text, this is your opportunity now, or you want to raise your hand or use the chat bar. Just to remind everyone, just log in, you just register using your NHS email address, you then select your practice and you register. You don't need to get a login detail from the Consultant Connect or the CCG. You can just, as long as you're working in a Barnet practice, you can register straight away using your NHS email address. So if anyone hasn't, we had 150 people nearly on this, so hopefully you should have all downloaded the app and had a play around with it now. And share it with the other GPs and colleagues in your practices, please.
So I've just seen a question about how do we download the app, and the answer really is, if you're on iPhone, just simply go to the App Store and search on the word Consultant Connect. If you're on Android, then you go to Google Play and again search on Consultant Connect. The icon you'll see is basically a blue and a green mobile phone image. Download that and it will drag you through the process.
Thank you. Are there any other questions anyone wants to ask? Sorry if I've missed anyone out, just let us know. So just to confirm, local consultants we hope to get on board in the next 6 weeks, and we'll let you know when they're on board. In the meantime, you'll be directed to a national consultant for advice. Obviously, they're not going to be aware of local RMS pathways, but obviously once we get the RFL on board in the next couple of weeks, they will be fully aware. If people do think of questions after this, please get in touch with us. We have sent some emails out as well, which all of you would have received, about who to contact from our CCG, myself as a clinical lead, and also Kat as your contact at Consultant Connect. Any other questions at all?
Sorry, Nick, it's not a question, but I just wanted to make a comment and say thank you to all of our Barnet practices. So I think this has raised a lot of positive interest, and this is really promising. We've been very keen to implement this project for the last year or so, and I'm really pleased as Barnet Borough that we've come to this point, that we are able to offer this new service to our GP practices. I just want to say thank you to all of our practices for the keen interest, and I would encourage them to utilize the service. Currently, this is only a 12-month pilot, and NHS England is endorsing this, and also to mention they're sponsoring this project. So I would take this opportunity and utilize it as much as we can. I also want to say thank you to the Consultant Connect team. I think this was an excellent webinar. I think, Kat, you've run through the process very clearly, very simple, and I hope our practices found it useful. And lastly, I think because we're offering this to our GP practices to support them, I would really appreciate the initial feedback. So I'm on the original email that went out. So I'm Gulshan Gungar. I'm the Assistant Director of Transformation for Planned Care for Barnet. So you have my email address there. So I would really welcome any feedback, any suggestions, and we will review this weekly with our Consultant Connect teams weekly. So we can take on board and adjust and address any of the issues that you have. So thank you to all.
Thanks very much. And this will be, this is being recorded at the moment, and we will share this in Charlotte's bulletin tomorrow for those in your practice that weren't able to join. If that's it, if anyone's got any final burning questions, here's your chance now. Otherwise, we're going to bring this meeting webinar to an end. But go away now and download the app.
Thank you, Nick.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone, for attending.
Thank
you. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you.